This video is going to be way too personal. All right, check this out. When I grew up, I had no idea what credit and financials were. Like, I was so lost. Literally, I took a Walmart credit card when I was 18 years old, and I didn't know how to pay it back. After that, I got a couple more credit cards, and I was like in debt, and I had like $500 in collections. I went to Daniel's Jewelers to buy my girlfriend at the time a bracelet. It was 80 bucks. I paid one payment, and then I stopped paying. Like, I thought I had found a hack in the system, and I could just not pay back everything that I borrowed. It ruined me for years. Like, my entire college career, I had no credit. I graduated from college, I had no credit. Like, everything was in the gutters, and I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what credit was. Here's a number one advice I can give you. If you're watching this video or you're just thinking about taking out credit, you got to pay it back. No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about that. You have to pay back all of the debt that you take out. So check this out. This is what happened. You turn 18. You can't buy alcohol, but you can go to Walmart, you can go to Chase, you can go to Bank of America and apply for a credit card. And they'll give you a credit limit of usually $500 or $1,000. And then what these kids do, because they want to keep, the banks are much smarter than we are. They want to keep us poor. They want to keep the kids that are within the walls where they don't teach finances. They want to keep them broke. So here's what they do. They'll give you the $500 credit limit, which is nothing. You'll go pump gas. You'll take your friends to go eat. And the next thing you know, your 22% credit card with a $25 minimum payment is tapped out. Now your FICO is already starting to crash and you're not even 19 years old. Your prefrontal cortex isn't even fully developed. But that's what the banks want. They want you to consistently be in debt. So that's why they make credit available to 18 years old. And no one wants to tell you how to pay it back. Like, what do? Do you invest or do you pay your debt back? Grant Cardone would tell you that you have an income problem, not that you have a debt problem. His logic is go make more money. How? How do I go make more money? All right. So what do I do, right? Because enough of me bitching about the banks taking advantage of minorities, of low income, of people who just don't have the ability. Now, and I'm going to just interject this, and I know I'm kind of all over the place, so I apologize, but I'm just so heated. People that grow up with financial literacy, when they turn 18, their credit limit is $20,000 because their parents have been establishing credit for them since the moment they were born. For example, my daughter, who's 4 years old, she already owns a business. She already owns an Airbnb. She already owns a condo. And now my daughter, when she turns 18, she's going to have been added to all of my credit cards. She's going to have built up credit. She's going to have a 700 FICO and she's going to have a house under her name. Like, this is how you start to beat the systems. It takes generations, but you have to prep on day one. Okay. So that's a little bit of a boast and what you should be doing if you have the financial capabilities. But here's the number one thing. If you have credit, be very cognizant of how you're going to use it. So for example, I took a call yesterday and the guy goes, hey, I'm going to take a line of credit of $100,000 so I can build a business. Now, if I was a really great loan officer, I would have said, say less, let me get you those 100 grand. It'll take me 5 days on my HELOC. But what I asked was, why do you need the money? Right? And he says, to start a business. And I go, how much liquidity do you have right now? They said, I have about 50 bands. I have about $50,000. And I was like, all right, cool. How much is the business going to start? How much are the startup fees for the business going to be? It was like 50 grand. I was like, well, you don't have enough money to start a business because they're going to take 100,000 and people use access to capital. Access to capital is a savings account. Access to capital is not your savings account. Access to capital means how much money you can borrow, not how much money you actually have. And so you have to delineate the difference between the two. Access to capital, I can go borrow 100,000, but I have to pay back 100,000. Well, guess what? That 100,000 is at a 10% rate. You're paying $1,000 a month just in interest. Versus my savings account, I have $50,000 in savings. I can take it and use it as I please. Now, some TikToker who hasn't been through life is going to tell you access to capital is better than actual savings.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
They're wrong. It's not. You need access to capital if you're going to build, but you got to remember the number one theme of this video, you got to pay it back. So if you're going to go and you're going to start a new business, you shouldn't have to borrow money to start a new business because now your P&L is in the negative and you're starting in the negative. If you're going to go start a business, make sure you have enough reserves, at least 6 months of reserves, meaning take into account all of your fixed expenses, rent, payroll, inventory, and you put that money aside, you put it in a savings account. And once you have all your startup fees plus 6 months of reserves, that's when you have a good launching point. And then you can set up the access to capital, set up credit to be able to pull it in case you ever need it in an emergency. And so it took me years to get out of debt and years to learn this, that I got to pay my actual debt back. The most important thing you can do is carry a balance and pay it to zero every month. Now I get it. Sometimes you're not going to be able to pay off all your debt and pay it down to zero every month, but that should be your intent. Now, debt against assets, debt that is collateralized, is completely different than uncollateralized debt, because collateralized debt is tied to an asset that's generally going up in value, except for cars. But debt against a mortgage is good debt. So there is such thing as good debt. But debt on a credit line or debt on a credit card is terrible debt. That's at 20% interest rate. That's what the banks want. That's what the system, that's what the managerial class wants, because that keeps you down. You're losing money. And here's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. They'll have 20 grand in their savings, but they'll have 20 grand in credit card debt. Your savings isn't gaining any money. You're better off depleting your entire savings account down to zero and paying off your $20,000 in credit card debt, because that $20,000 in credit card debt is incurring interest every single month at 20%. $400 every single month that it's incurring. And your minimum payment isn't even going to cover the interest that it incurs on a monthly basis, and your balance is going to continue to grow. Meanwhile, you have 20 grand sitting over here not doing nothing. So if you're in credit card debt, what I want you to do is I want you to pile up all of your bills, and you're going to take an Excel sheet and you're going to label them. Bill 1, Bill 2, Capital One, American Express, auto, house, etc., 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 student loans. And the first thing you're going to start with is paying off all your credit cards, and you're not going to pay them all in one single shot. So what you're going to do is you're going to identify the one with the highest interest rate. So if you have a credit card that has a $20,000 balance and it has a 20% rate, you have another credit card that has a $2,000 balance, but it has a 4% rate. Guess what? We're going to attack the one with the $20,000 balance first. Now, what I want you to do, this is very controversial. Oh my God. In light of Grant Cardone, you don't have a debt problem, you have an income problem. I want you to take a side hustle. I want you to drive for Uber, drive for Uber Eats, drive for something. Just get a side hustle. And what we're going to do is we're going to start attacking the first credit card. So that $20,000 balance and everything else, we're going to keep at the minimum. Now, if we have a savings account, I'm sorry. I know it feels good to have it, but as long as you can maintain access to capital, we're going to use that to pay down our credit cards, because it's better for you to get those credit card balances as low as possible than to maintain a savings account, because that money's not doing anything for you. It's just sitting there. It's actually losing money by sitting there because of inflation. So what I want you to do is you're going to put your savings, you're going to pay down your debt, you're going to get a side hustle, you're going to pay off the first credit card. And then after the first credit card is paid down to zero, we're going to put that to the side. Then we're going to pay off the second credit card. Once that credit card, right? And again, the second credit card is going to be the one that has the second highest interest, and then the third highest interest. Now, what you can also do, and here's the hack that you want to take from this, you can try to apply for a 0% interest credit card and transfer the balances. So what you would do when you get that 0% interest credit card is you'll call that creditor and you'll say, hey, can I transfer my balances? And see if you can transfer all the balances onto one credit card. You'll take those 3 credit cards, you'll rip them up, give them to your wife. She's more responsible with money than you are. And so then you start just attacking that one, right? But if that's not an option, you take it one step at a time. And for dear God, do not go into a credit consolidation program. It will completely ruin you financially. After you've paid off your 2, 3, 4 credit cards, going down the line, this might take 1, 2, 3 years. But the reason why we want to attack one at a time is because we want to see the effects of it going into play. If you attack all of them simultaneously, you're not going to get nowhere. So you want to attack just one at a time. Then you'll attack your car loan, and then your house debt. You're always going to pay the minimum unless your rate is higher than inflation. If you have a 2% rate or a 3% interest rate, don't ever pay extra money, because the rate of inflation is higher than the rate that you're paying on your mortgage. So if you're experiencing the banks trying to take advantage of you and allowing you to have this massive credit card debt, remember one thing, that debt needs to be paid off. And if you don't have debt and you're thinking about requesting access to capital, meaning credit, just remember, you got to pay that off. And if you don't pay that off, then you got to pay interest on it. And now your money that's in your savings account has to get depleted to pay off your credit cards. Make sure you send this to somebody who you know is struggling with credit card debt, and like, comment, and subscribe for more information. Peace out, y'all. Don't let the banks take advantage of you.